Hey, Karuna.
Good.
How's
Yeah,
it going?
good. How are you?
Happy Wednesday.
I know, the hump day of the week.
Yeah, I was just saying, I can't believe it's our seventh episode
I forget now. We've been
or
doing so many
or
episodes.
something like that. But we've had so many different topics, and they always all intertwine. And I was also mentioning that we're going deeper into spirituality and kind of understanding ourselves as energy beings and going deeper into um, some of these concepts and ideas that can help us expand us and really bring more of that self-empowerment.
Yeah, and we are going to talk today about giving, and you might wonder how giving affects your power, because self-empowerment is all about getting your power back. So I read something today morning, and I thought I could share that first about giving. So giving is a miracle that can transform the heaviest of hearts. Two people who moments before lived in separate worlds of private concerns suddenly meet each other over a simple act of sharing. The world expands. A moment of goodness is created, and something new comes into being where before there was nothing. So it's a little bit about what you were talking, that giving is a miracle, actually. And why is giving connected to self empowerment? So I think for that, we need to come down to the basics that we are energy beings. And we have, besides the physical body, we have an emotional body where we record and store all of our emotions. We have a mental body where we record and store all of our thoughts. And we have a spiritual body where we record and store all the values by which we live our life. So basically, we have four bodies and one seen and three unseen bodies. So in order for us to empower ourselves, we need all the bodies to be strong. And those three are more of a subtle energy fields. That's why you cannot see them. So the more we expand our bodies and the more we make it more structured, organized, vitalize it, the more power we have, right, to reach each and every one of our goals. So that's why what does giving do actually? Scientifically, it's proven through many scientific studies that when you're giving, you are doing something which makes you go beyond yourself to others around you, and your energy field just expands when you do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and giving also brings about a feeling of oneness with everybody else, because when you're giving, you're having an abundance mindset. It's like, I have more than enough, I can easily share, I can easily give, right? So your kind of abundance itself enhances your energy field a lot. So even just looking at it energetically, the process of giving is really a miracle, because by a simple act of giving, you are expanding yourself way beyond what your mind can think.
Yeah.
And with an expanded energy field, you have way more power.
Yeah. And it's so funny how well our frequencies are aligned today, because I use the word expand and wanted to call this the magic of giving, because it's exactly
Mhm.
what you said. It's, there's also another saying, which is like energy attracts like energy. And this whole idea of you surround yourself, you are the way you are with the energy that you have. And then based on that, attract other very similar energy. So I think that's also very related in the idea of giving, because you're just putting yourself in a state of abundance, like you were mentioning, and just that,
Mhm.
things are flowing.
Right. And the fact that you're energy beings is not just a esoteric concept, right? Because now we have so many beautiful scientific studies that are being done. We have cameras called aura cameras, which can take pictures and record your energy field for you, so you know what's going on in your energy field.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube video on where I recorded myself doing healing, Reiki healing, whilst with an aura camera. So you can see my energy field as it fluctuating and changing. So you see there is so much evidence out there that energy field is alive, and we are more than this physical body. We are an energetic body. Also, we do have both the bodies. So one of the ways which is very, very powerful of expanding your energy body, which relates to expanding your consciousness, is through the process of magic of giving or generosity, right? Giving and generosity go hand in hand. So, yeah, I think it is the basis of spiritual living. The practice of giving will make your heart stronger, and your heart is what leads you on a spiritual journey. right? So that's how it is linked. So connecting the dots about how giving is linked to empowerment, and that's linked to spirituality. So it's all connected together, even though they seem separate, right?
And
I think,
and I think like the whole part of giving too is also learning and growing with that self-love internally, to know that you're giving out of the kindness of your heart and it's unconditional, which is always what, you know, we're aiming for, of that unconditionally giving with no expectations or nothing to gain in return. You're just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. And, you know, I think that's the next level of giving, when you're able to not have any wants or desires behind the action that you're doing. You're just doing it because you feel really called to do that action.
yes, so giving shouldn't come from a place of guilt or, obligations, right? That's conditional giving, right? And then when that is happening, then you need to kind of question yourself and see, why are you giving then, right? Are you giving because you feel pity for somebody, right? Because again, any kind of giving that doesn't come from your heart is not true giving. So
Yeah.
you don't really earn your spiritual gifts with that, okay? Because spirituality comes from place of love and compassion. So when you're giving from the place of love, from your heart, that giving is going to give you so. It's like a seed that you're sowing in the universe, and according to the laws of spirituality, what you give out, you will receive hundredfold. So if you're planting a single seed of unconditional love, of giving through unconditional love, you're going to receive a lot too. Whether you do it immediately or a few weeks later, a few months later, or even in the next lifetime, but you will receive your gifts because that seed will harvest, right? So that's another one of the reasons why giving is so powerful, and why many religions in the world, if you really look at that, emphasize on service to others,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there is so much spiritual truths behind what happens when you expand your consciousness from I and me to us and we, right? So creating a feeling of oneness with everybody, right? The more you create a feeling of oneness with others, the bigger and more expansive your energy field. It's almost like the universe giving you a gift. Like, oh, you are here to not only do your own development, but you're here to spread your knowledge and gifts to others. So let me help you. So it's like they tap on you and they give you more power, because they want this to happen. They want you to go out and share your gifts and talents with others.
Yeah.
So yeah, a simple act like giving can be so powerful in getting your power back and feeling empowered and feeling that when you're giving, you also feel a sense of fulfillment. It's almost like it's linked to your purpose on this planet,
Yeah.
right? So you feel you're achieving your purpose because you're spreading your knowledge and gifts and whatever you have, the abundance you have with others, and you're leaving behind a legacy, right? It's not about getting fame or having others acknowledge what you're doing. It's just pure sense of giving, as you said before, unconditional giving, just giving from your heart purely, not expecting anything back in return. Right?
Yeah.
And
I
I think that's
remember.
what we are doing these series for too, right? You're sharing our knowledge unconditionally.
Yeah, yeah, and I really always enjoy these, and they're always, you know, unplanned, and kind of we share from our own life experience and our clients
Mm-hmm.
and some of the things they're going through. And I remember doing an exercise on goal setting or future vision, you know, dreaming, and there was really three buckets. One was experience, one was growth, and one was service or giving. And like
Mm-hmm.
thing, I really think that you need all three of those components in your life to feel this sense of fulfillment. And so service is really within us, and we genuinely have this desire to give and help others and serve. So, you know, how can you start to brainstorm of, okay, what does that mean for me within my life? Where are some of the aspects or places where I could be giving and I can be serving? To kind of allow that to follow your passion and your reason for, you know, being here in the first place.
And I think that's something we were discussing, the two of us, a few days back, is about creating a platform where we can share this knowledge out into the world, right? Which is not linked to me or you. It's just we both giving unconditionally, but we're inviting other souls out there who want to give unconditionally of their talents and gifts. And maybe we can all come together and create a beautiful platform, because I think education should be free. We shouldn't be charging for education. So whatever knowledge and wisdom we have collectively, we can bring it together and share it with the world. right? So right now, this is posted on my YouTube channel, Karuna Healing Center, and you're posting on yours. But I would really like to take it out from both of us and put it in a outside entity which is open to other people, right? And bring that. So we are leaving a request or a wish out there. People who would have different skills, whether it's technology skill or whether it's marketing skills, whatever you have, if you want to come and connect with us and create this platform and do this pure act of giving. It has to be just not for fame, not for glory, not for money, but just purely to give back to the world.
Yeah.
And your knowledge and wisdom becomes like a legacy you leave behind because it's there permanently recorded, everything that you share in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah. In addition to, others who also want to share their wisdom or experience and things like that, because I think we gain so much from understanding others' perspectives and the authenticity or vulnerability that comes from storytelling or comes from having these discussions. I think makes us feel more connected with each other because we realize, while we are all sort of struggling with different situations, at the end of the day it comes back down to that we're all struggling with some of the same things, and how can we kind of help each other and uplift each other to keep going and push through some of those obstacles and struggles.
Yeah, I always look on Earth as a school, and we are all here studying together. And if we can give tips to each other how to study and pass the exams and tests, wouldn't that be great? Right? Because I think together we all win. Right? So if we all collectively attain peace within us, then we'll create such a peaceful society. Right? So I think this is a collective effort where we are bringing in a new way of living, where we are sharing unconditionally, where our wealth is the wealth that we share with others is our true wealth, right? Because your energy field is the only thing that you'll take with you when you leave this earth. You're not taking the body, you're not taking anything material, but you're taking your energy field. So all the knowledge and wisdom that you've gained in your energy field and put it there, all that you shared from a place of love, everything is going to be with your energy field. And that's the only way to reach enlightenment. In fact, I read something about a quote from Buddha where he said that Buddha said that no true spiritual life is possible without a generous heart. Generosity allies itself with an inner feeling of abundance, the feeling that we have enough to share. And that's the only way to reach enlightenment, right? Because enlightenment comes from the heart, not from the mind. That's why in meditation we're trying to go beyond the mind. Because through the heart we understand love. Through our heart we understand compassion, right? And we all have enough to share. Right? And we don't have to just share tangible things like money or material things like clothes and furniture and other things. We can do a lot of intangible sharing too. And that can mean the most, right? Where you're giving of your time, your energy to others. Maybe you're just listening to somebody, right? You're giving your time to that person. Or maybe you're just sharing a smile. You don't know what your smile can do. When a smile comes purely from the heart, and you give that smile to a stranger, you don't know how deeply you might have affected that stranger's day that day, right? Because you have no idea of the power of love.
It's kind of that, and I think I've even been working on it. At first it feels a little bit awkward to smile while you're walking by someone or to say hi. And everyone's always, if you really pay attention, they're putting their heads down and they're not really looking at you. And then when you looking and you start saying hi and inviting a smile, I think it gives the others permission too to say, oh, okay, I can open up and uplift my energy. But I noticed that with myself being shy, it was not very natural or instinctive for me to say hi, how's everyone doing? I was kind of just be in my own shell. And like even when you said that, the spark of a smile or being inviting, whether or not you speak to someone does make a huge difference.
Yeah, because 70 to 90% of a communication is nonverbal. And we've talked about this in other episodes too. It's scientifically proven. So when you're smiling with love from your heart, you are sharing beautiful energy with the other person. And at some level of consciousness that other person is receiving, and maybe they're going through a tough time in their life. And that little burst of beautiful energy that you send their way might just give them the spark they need to become alive again. So don't ever underestimate the power of something that you give with true love. Yeah. And I think that That is why giving is so powerful, because when you're giving from a place of full love, uh, that unconditional form of giving is what is going to enhance your consciousness.
Yeah.
And we also have to know that when we give, we also receive, right? Because giving and receiving is an energy. Energy has to always flow, right? When you're receiving a lot of things from the universe and you're not allowing giving, you're blocking your energy from flowing.
Yeah.
So then your energy field cannot expand anymore because you blocked it. You put a barrier, a dam in front of it, right? So now you are receiving a lot from the universe. The universe gave you a good job. Maybe it's giving you food every day. Maybe it's giving electricity in your house, but you're not taking that and passing it on. So you're again blocking the flow, right?
Yeah.
So remember, giving is also for your own development that you're giving. You're not only giving to the other. Every time you give, you're also winning. It's a win-win situation because your energy starts flowing. And the more you give, the faster the receive happens. It's like the universe is waiting there and he says, okay, I'm going to give you all these things, but I'm giving you not only for your own use, I'm giving you so you can spread it out to others, right? So you can keep as much as you want, but can you give back something? Right? And the more you do that, the more you kind of make a flow like this happening, more abundance you'll receive. And it's such a beautiful thing when you don't have to think about tomorrow because you just know that the flow is established and you're just going to receive. It's just like the birds and the animals. They're not hoarding anything, right? Because they know they'll receive their food and whatever else they need on a daily basis. That's their divine trust. And they give unconditionally, right? They sing unconditionally. The tree gives you shade unconditionally, fruits unconditionally. So when they're doing the unconditional giving, the receiving is always there.
Yeah. And you know, this reminds me of an episode we did in our self-love series on abundance. And it's really interesting how each topic you can apply to another topic.
Oh.
How, you know, there's abundance in your self-love, there's abundance in your giving. There's abundance in the flow of energy, like you were talking, is that give and receive. And, you know, I work with a lot of empaths, and sometimes it's the overgiving and not enough receiving. And so that balance is also just as important of, you know, how are you also taking care of yourself while you're still giving and making sure that it's a flow and not always one direction or the other.
Yeah, because giving implies that you first need to give to yourself. Because unless your energy field is full of whatever you want to give others, how are you going to give something from your energy field when your energy field doesn't have it?
Yeah.
So you want to give love to others, but you don't know how to love yourself. Then your energy field doesn't have love in it. So 70-90% of your communication is not giving love out. Even though from your mouth you may say, I love you. But you really don't mean it because you don't even know what love is. Right? That's why we did the whole series on self-love, making that the foundation of your life. Right? So then the giving becomes easy when you're filled with a higher frequency of love for yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you don't overgive too. Like you just said, as an empath, you overgive. You won't overgive because then you will know where your energy is getting blocked. It's like you're giving a lot, but you're not receiving. Or you're giving from a place of obligation or from limiting belief systems that you have, but you really don't want to. It's like, I have to give my time today to go see my aunt, but I really don't want to because she's so negative. Now, that in that case, your giving of your time to her is not giving you any spiritual benefits.
Yeah.
Right? You might want to look at it and see what is it that you need to change within yourself. What other extra knowledge you need or wisdom you need so that you can go see her from a place of love. Or maybe not even go, set your boundaries and say, you know, I can't come today. And we discuss setting boundaries in self-love series too.
Yeah.
So pretty much everything that we've been talking about is connected, right? And other ways you can share things is maybe you can prepare a meal for somebody, you know, or maybe you can serve something, serve a person with love, right? So there's so many intangible ways we can just give to each other, right? And remember, what you give is what you receive 100-fold. So if you're giving negativity around, you're going to receive the negativity back in your life too, right? Because it's just giving.
Yeah.
The energy is not judging itself as positive or negative. It's just taking that energy, multiplying, giving it back to you, right? So the more you're pushing out negativity to the world, the 100-fold more negativity comes into your life. And then you say, my life is so bad. Nothing goes well in my life. Hey, maybe because you need to change your mindset.
Yeah.
Right? You're receiving a lot of negativity. Maybe it's time for you to sow a lot of positive seeds out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Another conversation or discussion we had too is how your outside world is reflecting your inside world and how your inside world is reflecting your outside world. And it's so applies with this idea of magic of giving is, you know, what are you mirroring, giving to yourself that you can then give to the outside world, or what is the outside world giving to you that then you feel like, thank you, you can give that back to yourself, and vice versa. And just this whole play between the two, how basically it's just a mirror of what our life looks like and how it is. And sometimes, like you were saying, it's really hard to say, oh, why am I in this situation? This is so unfair. But if you look at the external, you see, well, this is how you're presenting yourself to the world. So the world is presenting itself back to you in this way. And, you know, that's a really deep concept that a lot of people haven't really put much time to really think about.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult concept because we know at an intellectual level that life is a play or life is an illusion, but we don't really understand it at a deeper level, right? So if you are waiting to receive a lot of respect from others, that if you are not respecting yourself, then you're going to have tough time receiving respect from others, and then you'll be blaming the other people for not respecting you. But you don't realize that the reason they are not respecting you is because your energy is talking non-verbally. The 70 to 90% 70 to 90% of conversation that you're having is talking and saying, I'm not somebody you can respect because I don't respect myself.
Yeah.
And the other person is listening to the non-verbal communication. Oh, we don't have to respect her because she doesn't deserve it, right? So remember, whatever the outer world is giving to you, look within and see, are you receiving too? Are you giving to yourself what you want from the other world, outside world? So giving and receiving is actually connected to each other. And though we have called this session giving, remember, you can only give unconditionally when you have learned to give to yourself unconditionally, right? And just like you give unconditionally, you need to learn how to receive unconditionally also.
Yeah.
And we are all born either a giver or a receiver. I know I was born a giver, and it really took me, I think, a decade to kind of learn to balance my energy. And I'm still working on it because it's more natural for me to give than to receive.
Yeah.
And I still have to keep working. Just like I have the pleasure, I get a lot of pleasure in giving. I need to give somebody else the pleasure in giving it to me also. And it's also cultural belief systems which we have, where somebody gives us something, immediately our mind makes it into a business transaction and say, okay, Julie gave me this, so now I have to return something back to her.
Yeah.
You know, and we kind of place it in the memory bank here and keep it. And the minute we get an opportunity, I'll go get something for you and give it to you. Well, then I feel like more at peace because I balance the transaction. But that's not how it should be.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the way you put it, I almost see it as two categories. There's one, which is the physical, like you give this, I get this, with that way, which isn't necessarily the unconditional giving that we talked about. And then there's also the other side, which is more the spiritual and the internal giving and receiving flow, where it's not necessarily a direct connection, but it's just in general, you're giving and you're receiving in one form or the other.
Yeah, and we did that session, I think, last week or the week before. We talked about spirituality as a part of self-empowerment, right? And we discussed a little bit of what you're talking just now over there, right? So yeah, giving is a beautiful service that you perform, not only for the others, but also for yourself. And if you want to really achieve bliss and happiness in your life, then learn to give unconditionally. And, you know, I had to actually literally learn to stop myself from giving back when somebody gave me.
Yeah.
And many times when somebody tried to give me something, I would say, no, I don't need it, you know, or I don't want it. So because I was having trouble with receiving. So I have to really work hard to say, okay, I just need to receive this with pure love in my heart and bless the person, right? Because I still need to give something, and I've not reached that level where I can just receive unconditionally. So I will at least give them a blessing. But I'm not going to keep a track of what they gave me, like I used to do before, so that I can return favors back to them. Because I know the universe will always write the right things up properly, right? And I need to learn to receive unconditionally also. So I will receive it without any conditions. Right. So that's something we have to all learn on this planet, because we are all either born givers or born receivers. And if you look around your life, you'll see there are some people who just like to receive, don't like to give much. And there are some people who like to give all the time till they overwhelm you with the amount of giving they do. Right. So Yeah, I think giving is something that you have to learn. How can you give yourself everything first that you require?
Yeah.
And that's not being selfish.
Yeah. One of the exercises that really impacted me because it was like, it really touched a chord where
Mm.
I really felt the emotion was this breathing exercise where someone has you like inhale, keep inhaling, like keep going, 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 and then you exhale and you do deeply both ways. And if you do that a few
Mm.
times, you realize how I don't know the word, but like how silly it is that you don't want to over exhale or over inhale, because when you do that, it feels so uncomfortable and there's, anxious feelings. You get like tense and worried about it. And you realize you need to find that balance, that calming balance where you're breathing in just enough and breathing out just enough. And that exercise really impacted me because it was realizing that I'm always exhaling, 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 and at what point do I inhale? But then once I inhale more, okay, then at what point am I ready to exhale? And just that idea of the breathing helped me with the giving and receiving of, you don't want to go too extreme in either way. You want to stay balanced and in the middle piece. So a lot of times I do that exercise in my group coaching program where, they go through that exercise and I don't explain to them exactly why I'm making them do this. And then at the end, they share their emotions, of how they felt. And oftentimes it's like, well, that was tiring. It was exhausting. I had some anxious feelings. And then you relate it back to, well, that's exactly, a lack of balance in giving and receiving. And I think it paints the
I
picture.
think it's wonderful. Yeah, I think that you gave a wonderful example because, yeah, you can connect your breath because your breath is actually giving you a lot more information than you realize. And that's why there's so much emphasis on breathing in meditation, all that, because you connected it right now to giving and receiving. And that's beautiful, right? Because how much of oxygen are you receiving and what are you giving out?
Yeah.
And are they balanced? Because you know that your breath is not balanced. Sometimes inhaling is difficult for you, sometimes exhaling long is difficult, easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I think that's a beautiful example.
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
still actually do the physical exercise once in a while when I'm like, maybe I'm giving too much here. Let me do this exercise.
And breathing has so many advantages. I mean, we can do a full series on breathing. Actually, there's so much to learn with breathing. So I think that's amazing. So maybe all of you out there, try it out what Julie just said and see how you are. Are you more comfortable inhaling? Are you more comfortable exhaling? How can you balance the two? Right? But balance it in your outer world too. If you are a giver by nature, and we all know our nature, then stop, pause when you're giving too much and learn to receive instead. And when somebody is giving you something, accept it with deep gratitude
Yeah.
and take it with a sense of love instead of judging their gift and saying, oh, they didn't give me a good thing, or they gave me something so cheap, or they didn't give me, they gave me something that they didn't want. No, whatever is coming to you is coming from the universe. The person is acting like a medium through which you're receiving things. So acknowledge it, take it, and be grateful for it. Right? Same thing when you're giving. Give from a place of love, not from a place of obligations or limiting belief systems or because you're feeling pity for somebody or, it's even like a homeless person. When you give money to the person, give it from a place of love. Because a homeless person is giving you an opportunity to practice compassion and kindness.
Yeah.
So even though in the physical world he appears homeless, he's a beautiful soul just like you. But he's giving you an opportunity because we are in the world of duality. Everything has to happen in opposites for us to learn. So there he is, a soul who's saying, I'm going to give opportunity to a lot of people in this world to practice compassion and love. So give from that place rather than giving from pity.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy, I need to give him. That he's not poor. He's a beautiful divine being and he doesn't need your pity, right? So again, how are you giving things? From which part of your body are you giving? Are you giving from the mind? Then it's the conditional giving. Are you giving from the heart? Then it's an unconditional way of giving, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love how much we were able to expand on not just how giving, empowers you, but also how you find that abundance in your life and the flow energetically to kind of just feel more at peace and more at joy, like my favorite word always is, more joy in your and that's why we named it the magic of giving, because it really is magical when you can get into that state of mind.
And you have to practice. Like anything else, giving also is something you have to practice over and over. How can you give unconditionally? And practice it. And you'll get better at it, just like anything else. The more you practice, the better you get at it. Yeah. All right. So I think that was a great session, and hope everybody got to learn a little bit, and hope you all start giving from today onwards. Give a smile. Yeah, that's the first thing we can all start with, is giving a beautiful smile to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Jill, for doing this.
And, drop in the comments what were some of your insights, and how you're liking the series so far, and what other conversation or discussion topics you'd like us to discuss. Thanks so much, Karuna. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you, everyone. Bye.